We just couldn't sustain what we were doing well. I think all the games that we've played well lately, we just haven't been able to sustain it. I think we started the game pretty solid in Boston, couldn't sustain it. In Philly, I think we played one of our best games of the season against a really good team for three and a half quarters. Couldn't sustain it. I think tonight was a case of the same thing. I thought we jumped out to a pretty solid lead to start the game. Halfway through the second quarter, they kind of started to draw fouls. We had some miscommunications, just wasn't sharp going from offense to defense. They got some good looks. They was able to get back into the game, but it's a game of runs. It happens, and going to the half with the lead, and I think in the second half, they just, like I said, they started to, they came on, and we just wasn't able to sustain what we did defensively or offensively, and they took over the game, and it was just another loss in that same fashion.
What do you think it is that you guys are able to game plan, execute early, and build these leads, and then can't hold them once you build them? But
I think sometimes when you come out in the beginning, the game is fresh. It's just the best way to put it is there's not as much pressure on those opening moments of the game. There's so much game to go, and then as the game goes on, the game tightens up. People sharpen up, adjustments get made. The entire game, both teams are trying to change things up to throw the other team off, and I think we've just struggled with that. With the changes that happen over the course of a game, we've had a hard time with it, and I think just having more experience, we a lot of times what you see in NBA games, you start playing well, and it's important to realize what's taking place that allows you to play well, that allows things to be in your favor. And I think what you see a lot of times is you just get away from doing that. You start to feel good. It feels easy sometimes when you are doing all the right things. It feels easy, and you just kind of go off script. Not like it's not always intentional. You just fall into the mentality of like it's just happening, and you get away from all of the things that you're doing that are actually hard. You just don't continue to do it because you think it's going to continue to go the way it's going. But with the game changing, teams adjusting, teams tightening up, you got to continue to do those things hard and be disciplined that way. And we just haven't been able to sustain that.
Dame, you kind of talked about with J.J. Redick about the league going away from having these veterans on the bench. How hard has that been for you? You're all this guy here trying to teach a lot of these guys the game.
For me, I've been in the league 11 years, and it's my number one priority. This is the most important thing to me. Outside of my wife and my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I spend a lot of my time watching. I study this, I train and work at this to be the best version of myself for this. But over the course of your career, you just consistently grow into that, being your top priority in so many different ways. And you also want to win more and more, as your time starts to shrink with how long you're going to be able to do this. And, it's just you got to get to that point. We got a really young team, and, it's one thing for me to always be, spreading the message and sharing what I think should be happening. But some things you just got to learn from experience, and, that's a process.
Where are you at in terms of trying to chase this thing still? 3 games out of 10, a lot of tough games coming up. Are you frustrated, or do you still feel confident you guys can fix some of these problems?
It's definitely frustrating, you know what I mean? When you fighting for something and, you look at the last, 2 weeks, it's like we let a lot of opportunities slip away. And then you look at what everybody else that's in the same hunt that we're in, you look at what they're doing, and that's what's frustrating, You see teams taking advantage of these opportunities and us not doing that, and we just kind of falling behind. So that's very frustrating, like I said, especially with where I am and, what our plans were coming into the season versus where we are right now. That's frustrating. But for me, it's like, I think it's, we got the next 4 or 5 games that's going to be like the deciding factor. If we continue to come out on the short end, at that point, we 3 games behind the 10th place. That's like the back end of the play-in. So I think these next, 4 games, 5 games is going to tell the story. And, we'll know where we are at that point. I think it'll be very obvious what we should be doing once we get to that point.